Russia is trying to weaponize food supplies just the way it did with refugees or energy resources.
It's very important to prolong the grain initiative for more than 4 months, at least 1 year, or even better, to make it for the whole time until the war ends.
But also it's important to support the presidential initiative to help more the country which are edge of the starvation by sending the Ukrainian grain directly to them.
Hello and welcome to Ukraine in Flames, a special project by Ukraine Media Center and NGO Euro-Atlantic Course. I'm your host, Maria Romanenko. More than 12 million tons of grains, oilseeds and products of their processing have been exported within 1 month of the grain initiative, allowing for a safe transportation of agricultural products from Ukraine through the Black Sea and to countries in Africa, Asia and Europe. The grain deal was extended for another 4 months recently after Russia, one of the 4 signatories along with Ukraine, Turkey and the United Nations, threatened to leave the deal. So what's the deal with the grain deal? We'll speak to experts and Ukrainian government representatives about what happened and how Ukraine is ensuring that the world is sufficiently fed, all whilst navigating the waters of war and instability. So if you want to find out, please continue watching this video and subscribe to our channel so that you don't miss our videos in the future. We'll start with Yevgeniya Gaber, a senior fellow at the Atlantic Council in Turkey. She'll explain how Russia tries and fails to weaponize food.
The whole situation around the grain deal has shown that Russia is trying to weaponize food supplies just the way it did with refugees or energy resources. So, though Moscow tried to connect its withdrawal, or rather suspension of active participation in the Joint Coordination Center in Istanbul, to the attacks on the Russian Black Sea Fleet in the occupied Sevastopol, which is something like 220 kilometers away from the grain corridor and has nothing to do with it, the real reasons for doing so were quite different. First, by undermining the whole process and by questioning the future of the exports of Ukrainian wheat and grain to the world markets, Russia tried to cause a further increase in prices and destabilize the whole situation on the global food markets. On the other hand, by doing so, we tried also to put additional pressure both on the poorest countries of the global south, of Africa and the Middle East, and also the European capitals and the Western partners of Ukraine also had difficult time in explaining the new wave of food inflation to their own population. This, according to the Moscow's calculations, would probably have caused a decrease in supplies of arms and weapons from the Western partners to Ukraine, which were crucial for the successful counter-offensives of the Ukrainian armed forces in the east, but also in the south of the country. So by doing so, and by connecting the situation on the battlefield and the progress of the Ukrainian armed forces to the normal functioning of the grain corridor, the Russian leadership tried to improve its situation on the ground and its strategic position in the Black Sea region in general. What has become a major miscalculation of the Kremlin was the fact that the dynamics and the balance of powers have changed a lot since the late February and since the start of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. And that was not in the favor of the Russian Federation. So due to the successes of the Ukrainian army and overtaking the Serpent Island, meaning the control in the northern part of the Black Sea Basin, and to this general understanding in many countries of the world that Russia is not a partner to be trusted, it's not a partner to negotiate, but rather a disruptor of the international rules-based world order. Now, the United Nations, Turkey, and Ukraine, being three of the four parties in the Joint Coordination Center in Istanbul and generally in the Grain Initiative, have made it pretty clear that even without Russia, even in a trilateral format, the Grain Initiative can move on and can continue functioning in a quite successful way. The same happened in different areas as well, for example, with the European Union, which proved to be able to dramatically decrease its dependence on Russian gas and on Russian energy resources in quite a short period of time. So in this regard, of course, we can talk about a weakening position of the Russian Federation, about this end of the illusions of the great Russia, which cannot be defeated, or Russia, which can be trusted and which can abide by its international commitments. And on the other hand, increasing influence of Turkey in the region, which has played a crucial role in maintaining the grain deal and supplies of food to the world markets. Russia will try to use this opportunity for renegotiating better terms for itself and for putting pressure on Turkey and other partners within the Grain Initiative to get excess of its own grain and wheat, but also fertilizers and ammonia gas, which is a crucial raw material and element for the production of the fertilizers. As well as for evading sanctions by the banks and by the entities and companies involved in the grain trade. Though there are no sanctions against Russian wheat and grain, the threat of the secondary sanctions to those companies and entities which will be engaged in this trade prevented many of them from more active participation in cooperation with Russia. The other problem, which is connected to the possible reopening of the ammonia pipeline, which brings Russian ammonia gas to the Ukrainian seaport of Pivdenny, is by providing another tool of blackmailing to Russia, creating the possibility of using this pipeline basically as a chemical weapon against Ukraine, because this pipeline runs through the whole territory of Ukraine and very often remains under heavy shelling of the Russian forces. And of course, by investing millions of dollars into Russian economy. According to the most modest calculations, Russia will get something like $200 million on a monthly basis in case it can resume exports of ammonia gas to the international markets. With this being said, and to sum up, obviously Turkey has played a positive role in maintaining the deal and in playing this role of mediator and doing this shuttle diplomacy between Ukraine and Russia, which in this case played mostly like an additional leverage of influence over Russia to make it get back on board and resume its participation in the grain deal. And that was highly appreciated by Ukraine. On the other hand, there are also risks connected to pragmatic interests of other parties to the grain deal, which sometimes may disregard the needs of Ukraine to deoccupy its territories as soon as possible, and also to maintain sanctions pressure on the Russian regime, which will use any possibility to blackmail the whole world and to instrumentalize the most humanitarian issues like refugee problems, food supplies, grain, or wheat to continue with its acts of aggression in Ukraine and in the Black Sea region.
The first Deputy Minister of Agrarian Policy and Food of Ukraine, Taras Vysotskyi, will represent the Ukrainian government's position on the grain deal and feeding the world amid Russia's shelling and bombing.
It's very important that despite all the challenges and obstacles, we have been able to prolong the grain initiative for another period. First of all, it's very important for the international food security. Ukraine has been constantly providing necessary food to feed more than 400 million people throughout the world. And without participation of Ukraine, it is impossible to keep this feeding. And without grain initiative, it's impossible to realize. So far, we have been able to see that despite the Russia war, the grain initiative has been prolonged. Our partners, Turkey, United Nations, other international partners have supported us, and now we can provide the belief for all of these millions of people throughout the world who need this food that they will receive it. But it's also very important to provide the belief for Ukrainian farmers that then they can keep farming, keep seeding, planting and operating. And for this, it's very important to prolong the grain initiative for more than 4 months, at least 1 year, or even better, to make it for the whole time until the war ends. So we keep discussing with international partners and asking for support to realize it. This will provide the possibility to keep planning international food security. Also, as one of the humanitarian initiatives is grain from Ukraine, which is also distributed through grain initiative. So far, more than 20 countries have supported the idea of the President of Ukraine, Volodymyr Zelensky, and have started to support shipment of wheat to the countries of Africa to fight the hunger. We are also asking another international partners to join this initiative and to create the possibility to guarantee forever food security throughout the world, and what's more important, in the countries which have hunger and where there are risks of people dying. So keep fighting together with our international partners for the victory of Ukraine and victory of democracy.
Finally, the Deputy Minister of Infrastructure of Ukraine, Oleksandra Azarkhina, is asking the world to support Zelensky's initiative of stopping the world hunger.
Thanks to the signing of the initiative, Ukraine managed to have influence on the situation with the world food crisis. But even with that, it's never enough. So now we're at the point when it's not only important to have the grain initiative continue, but also it's important to support the presidential initiative to help more the country which are edge of the starvation by sending the Ukrainian grain directly to them. How it will organized? Basically, we're using the infrastructure of the World Food Program, but it's never enough. Now we are asking our allies and partners to buy Ukrainian grain, and we as Ukrainian government will allow and help the logistics, will assist in all processes just to make sure that the help will be where it's most needed.
You've been watching the special project by Ukraine Media Center and Euro-Atlantic course dedicated to the Russian-Ukrainian war, Ukraine in Flames. In our pinned comment, you can find information on how you can help Ukraine fight Russian aggression. If you find our work useful, please subscribe to our channel, like and share this video. Slava Ukraini!